If you'd rather spend your Friday night alone with a book than at a party full of people, you've probably been told something's wrong with you. Antisocial, withdrawn, maybe even a little sad. But recent psychology research suggests the opposite might be true. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why solitude isn't a flaw. It might be a sign your mind works differently than most. This matters more now than it used to. Even when you're not physically around people, notifications, group chats, and social feeds keep your brain in a low-level state of social monitoring almost all day long. For a deep processor, there's rarely a true off switch anymore. So solitude today isn't just about skipping parties. It's about actually finding moments where your nervous system gets to power down fully. Psychologists studying sensory processing sensitivity found that roughly 1 in 5 people have nervous systems that process input more deeply than average. Every conversation, every noise, every flicker of social dynamics in a room, their brain is quietly analyzing all of it, all at once. For most people, a 2-hour dinner party is relaxing. For a deep processor, it's the mental equivalent of running a marathon while doing math homework. Their brain isn't broken, it's just doing more work per second than everyone else's. So when they choose to leave early or skip the party altogether, it's not because they dislike people. It's because their mind is protecting itself from overload. Picture a family dinner. Everyone else at the table experiences 6 people talking as pleasant background noise. A deep processor's brain is tracking 6 separate emotional undercurrents at once. Who seems annoyed, who's being polite but bored, who's ready to change the subject. By dessert, the deep processor is running on fumes while everyone else is still fully charged. This isn't just modern psychology talking. Look at history's most original thinkers. And a pattern shows up again and again. Isaac Newton did some of his most important work during a 2-year stretch when Cambridge closed, and he retreated alone to his family's countryside home. No lectures, no colleagues, just uninterrupted thought. Charles Darwin structured his entire adult life around solitary daily walks, famously turning down most social invitations so he could think without interruption. Even modern authors have described needing total isolation to finish a manuscript, cutting off contact for weeks at a time. None of this means solitude guarantees genius, but it does suggest something worth sitting with. Some of history's deepest insights weren't born in meeting rooms or group brainstorms. They were born in the quiet nobody else wanted. Before we go further, let's clear up 3 myths that keep getting attached to people who prefer solitude. Myth 1: they hate people. In reality, most report enjoying social connection just as much as anyone else, but they simply need more recovery time afterward. Myth 2: they're shy. Shyness is fear of judgment. A preference for solitude is a matter of energy, not fear. Plenty of confident, socially skilled people still choose to recharge alone. Myth 3: something happened to them. There's a persistent assumption that anyone who avoids groups must be hiding some past trauma. Sometimes that's true, but for most people, it's simply how their nervous system is wired, not a wound that needs explaining. Once you drop these assumptions, the behavior stops looking like a problem to fix and starts looking like exactly what it is: a preference, not a red flag. Here's something most people get backwards. Preferring solitude doesn't mean disliking people. It usually means being selective about them. Research on relationship satisfaction consistently shows that people with fewer, deeper friendships report higher life satisfaction than people with large, loosely connected social circles. Someone who avoids small talk at a networking event isn't rejecting connection. They're rationing their social energy for conversations that actually matter to them. It's the same instinct that makes you skip fast food to save room for a meal you'll actually enjoy. There's also a well-documented link between solitude and cognitive performance. The psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who coined the term flow state, found that deep, uninterrupted focus, the kind that produces your best thinking, is almost impossible in a socially stimulating environment. Every time someone talks to you, your brain has to switch tasks, and task switching has a measurable cost. Studies estimate it can take over 20 minutes to fully regain deep focus after an interruption. So when a person walks away from a group to think alone, they're not being rude. They're protecting the one resource that lets them solve hard problems: uninterrupted attention. One more distinction worth making: preferring solitude and being introverted aren't automatically the same thing. Introversion describes where you get your energy from, inward rather than outward. But plenty of extroverts, people who genuinely thrive on social energy, still need real solitude to think clearly or process a hard day. In other words, this isn't just a video for introverts. It's for anyone whose mind needs quiet to function at its best, regardless of how outgoing you are the rest of the time. Quick gut check. How many of these sound like you? Sign number 1. After a few hours around people, even people you really like, you feel a strong pull to just be by yourself and recharge. Sign number 2. You'd rather have one deep, honest conversation than spend an evening making small talk with a group. Sign number 3. Your best ideas tend to show up when you're alone, in the shower, on a walk, not in the middle of a meeting. If 2 or more of those hit home, you're not broken and you're not antisocial. You're just wired to process the world a little differently than the loudest voices in the room. This is the part most people confuse. Loneliness is the painful gap between the connection you have and the connection you want. Solitude is the connection you choose, and choosing it doesn't create that gap at all. Researchers studying well-being found that time alone only harms mental health when it's involuntary. When it's chosen, it's linked to lower stress hormones, better emotional regulation, and, counterintuitively, better relationships. Because people return from solitude with more patience and energy to give. The difference isn't how much time you spend alone, it's whether you're running toward peace or running away from people. So, if you recognize yourself in any of this, here's the actual takeaway. Stop apologizing for needing space. Block time on your calendar the same way you'd block a meeting. Solitude isn't the absence of a plan, it's part of one. Protect it the way you'd protect sleep. And when you do socialize, be honest about your limits, instead of forcing yourself through events that drain you. Showing up authentic and tired for 20 minutes beats showing up resentful for 3 hours. The goal was never to avoid people. It was to show up as your best self, on your own terms. Ignore this pattern for too long, and it doesn't just stay uncomfortable. It compounds. Chronic overstimulation without recovery time is linked to higher rates of irritability, decision fatigue, and burnout. Even in people who seem perfectly fine on the outside, the people who look like they're handling it all are often just one overbooked week away from completely shutting down. Protecting solitude isn't a luxury for people who don't like socializing. It's maintenance, the same way sleep is maintenance. Skip it long enough, and eventually your body and mind will force the break for you, usually at a worse time than if you had just taken it on your own terms. If this explains something about yourself you never had words for, you're not alone in feeling alone, and that's exactly the kind of thing we break down every week here. Subscribe if you actually want to understand why your mind works the way it does. And if you've got a topic you want decoded, drop it in the comments. The next video might be your idea. Next time, we're breaking down the psychology of people-pleasing and why the nicest person in the room is often the most exhausted one. If that sounds like you too, make sure you're subscribed before it goes up.